We're recording. We got it. I got knocked loose in my headphones. I'm ready. We're
Do you
back.
like Poppy?
I.
Oh my God. Canceling the podcast.
I
It's a yes.
need to.
It's a yes.
I need to do more research because I'm not exactly sure where I sit with her yet. Like I've listened to some of her stuff and I'm like okay, and then I listen to some of the other stuff because she is like all over the place. You know, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variety going on there. So I had to, I gotta give her another shot and listen to her some more.
So
Get a better
I'm like
opinion.
Poppy's biggest fan
Who's
for
Poppy?
like ever. The adults are talking right now.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know how you would describe her.
She's
frankly.
the best. She's
What
like,
is she?
That's a great question.
No, I mean like artist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
Like
could
she's
say
a
that,
musician, but she just
Okay.
like she's kind of all over the place genre wise, So I'm sure not her being on that Knock Loose track definitely helped, and I've briefly looked at some of her previous work and stuff, and I just need to look at it again and sort of.
I've just gotten into very heated arguments with like metalheads because apparently she's such a controversial topic, and so
Yeah.
like I've gotten some pretty heated debates in the community. So just curious.
I mean, she's really good on that track she did in the last album. Like, I'm not complaining about it at all. Like,
all right, we can proceed.
good, it's good. It's a good touch. I remember seeing when I saw that she was on the track before I heard it. I was like, okay, that's gonna be like, what are they gonna do with that? How's that gonna work? And then I was like, okay. And then I heard it. I was like, sure, I'm here for it. Why not?
I love everything she's done, all of it.
She's an interesting. What's the best word to describe her? Like I feel like the anti Grimes. I feel like she's kind of like the opposite.
You know they have a song together, right?
Do they?
Yeah, they do. It was not supposed to be released, and Poppy released it anyway, so now they have beef, and it's great.
Oh, I do remember reading about that. Yeah.
I'm sorry you're bored over there.
Oh no, sorry. No, it's all good. I just got a bunch of messages. So
popular.
Yeah. He is. He's the most popular guy.
0% chance.
I have to be mean to him, so.
I mean, like he gives it out just as well as he takes it. So.
That's why I have to be mean.
I feel like we all just roast each other constantly. But that's what friends are for. But we're here. We're back. It's episode 7 of ArachNerds, part of the Herpeticulture Network. Brought to you by FullViewsApparel.com. Hats, shirts, mugs, other stuff. Check it out. Use the code THN at checkout. Gets you 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. You can get you an ArachNerd shirt, a Bacillotharia nerd hat, shirt, hoodie, whatever. I've got like 4 different Bacillotharia shirts on there, and I think I have another one to add. So
you need more Pamphobedias.
Maybe. I was working on. I have another Pamphobedias design I was working on, but I don't know if it's any good. You'll have to tell me when we.
It's
tomorrow,
of course, it's good.
Talk about it. I mean, it's all right, but a lot of times I'll make stuff and put it out there. I'm like, this is gonna do really well, and then it just bombs. And I'm like, yeah, never mind. So, whatever. Yeah, we're here again. This is like I feel like this is the most consistent we've been as far as like getting episodes pushed out. We're out to a good start, 2025. So
yeah, definitely, I'm pretty excited for this. We have a solid lineup, starting with our current guest right now, and moving forward, I'm pretty hyped for this entire year per se. So yeah, hope you guys are excited, as excited as we are for this
journey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, journey.
Anything new?
No, so I was supposed to get a couple. So I had gotten some snakes over the winter. Obviously can't ship during that. So they're just kind of stuck in limbo. They're down from people in like Arizona. There's one guy in summer down there. So just waiting for weather to start warming up, which 1 week it's like 50 degrees and a low of 35, and next week it's the low of like 10 and 20 degrees high. So I don't know when that's gonna check out. I will be getting I don't know if I mentioned this before, a Peruvian Pucallpa locale red tail boa. So I'm super excited. That was the first boa constrictor I saw in the wild, or that in Peru. So so very excited to get one, get my hands on one. So, but yeah,
Hell yeah.
other than that, just staring at tarantulas that I can't get because I am worried sick that my quarantine and my mite treatment process would kill them all in my apartment because it's so small. So I'm just like, yeah. But I always like fill up my cart every other day. I'm just like,
You're just
just one.
waiting.
Yeah, just waiting.
Just gonna press the button one day and it'll be glorious.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know.
What about you?
Not a ton. So I think the isometrous slings that I have, I'm gonna end up putting them together and do those communal. They're just not growing, and I've been feeding them a little heavier, trying to get some more size on them and stuff, just to get some more molt happening, so they get bigger and they can take bigger meals, and then grow a little more exponentially. But it's been tough. So I think I've lost a few over the last couple weeks, for whatever reason, and I'm gonna start putting what I have left, which is still like, I don't know, probably 12 at least. I think I'm gonna try housing those communally and see if they do better. And then I think if I end up getting another brood from that female, I'm gonna leave them with her longer, and see if they do better that way too. Just because I'm curious if the results will be a little faster as far as growing and stuff like that. So at some point, maybe this weekend, I'll do that.
Are they a slow growing species? I'm not
I didn't
familiar
think
with
they
the
were.
genus.
Like I didn't. They didn't strike me as a species that would be, considering that they're fairly tropical. Um, I didn't think they'd be any slower than most centroides or anything like that. But I don't know. We'll see. The adults are still doing fine. The apophysis molted, apophysis, however you want to say it. And I hadn't seen it since it did that. And then last night I was feeding it, and that little monster came out. I just posted on Instagram yesterday. You can go see that, and that thing didn't double in size, but it definitely is considerably larger than it was when I got it. And that thing's a blast, man. That being my first Theraphosa, dude. Like I'm really enjoying it. It's just such a bizarre species, like behavior wise. Food's in there. It any shyness it has like goes out the window, and it's going after whatever's in there. But if I walk in the room and I just see feet, I'll turn around and I'll turn my head back real quick, and they'll be gone. It just vanishes. It's weird. It's the boldest shy species.
Yeah, those guys are my favorite of the genus,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because they turn purple. Mature males will turn purple. They remind me of Amphibius, near and dear to my heart. But yeah, there's I just like them. It's interesting because they were labeled as Pseudotheraphosa.
Here's my blondie. I literally just got 2 blondies this week. This is my
Ooh,
small one.
are they sexed?
Yes, well, the one, is an adult female, and she's
Oh,
huge. She's
yeah.
in a 40-gallon bioactive they just dropped off, and, they also gave me this one, and they said, "Hopefully it's male, and you can breed it later."
Yeah, I'm curious because I saw Justin's Instagram video reel of like you have some moss in there and you have some leaves in there. My all my Therafosa, they would just tear everything up.
Yeah,
They did not care for anything I put inside there, so I kind of gave up with that. Especially when they got larger. So, but yeah, it would be cool to have like a bioactive going with them, or
yeah.
realistic something like that.
Hol Hold on.
Yeah, we've got moss everywhere here, dude. So like, if I need more, I just go out and collect some. Be it there's a ton at work, there's a ton on my parents' property. I'm sure if I walked around my backyard, I could find plenty. Like moss is all over the place, so that's not a hard thing to come by here. And it hasn't destroyed anything that I've put in there. It pretty much made that scrape under that cork, and that's its spot. But even with the Bacillotharia, like they don't seem to tear it up, which I wouldn't really expect them to anyways. But like if I put it in, I had some in with my curly hair, and that thing she just absolutely bulldozed everything in that enclosure. And so I don't bother trying to pretty hers up at all. I'm like, you clearly want to do what you want to do.
I
And
just
then
rehouse. Oh, sorry.
no, you're fine.
Not to interrupt. I just I got interrupted by the kids. So, but going back to the bird eaters, I just rehoused my Sturmy from a 10-gallon to a 33-gallon, and when I rehoused her, she had actually tore up the mesh bioactive layer. Like she
Oh
like
wow.
pulled it all out, and the hydro balls were spilling out, and so they do tear things up. This blondie I just got though, she came in this 40-gallon, and I've had her like a couple days, and so I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Epiphysis is going to get an upgrade to a 10-gallon probably this weekend. Maybe I need to get I was going to get some glass cut to do a lid, and the glass place is only open Monday through Friday, so that would mean I'd have to leave work to go get it and all that stuff. So I just haven't figured that out yet. But I did find some. What's the name of that company? It's like I Heart Geckos or something. Makes a 10-gallon conversion kit.
Oh yeah, the conversion. Yeah, I've seen that.
And I mean, it's like $30 or $40, but still less of a headache than probably trying to get someone locally to cut it and then go pick it up and everything. But I was going to try one of those because I'm going to move this into a 10-gallon until, for probably the next 6 months, and then it'll have to get bumped up again, I'm sure. But it's that thing's it's wild because it's also not, like I said, it's not super destructive. So it found that and made that scrape, and you wouldn't know it was there if you didn't see legs and stuff. Like it's pretty well sort of hidden. But I still have the last molt. I haven't sexed it yet. I was actually planning on hunting down a decent microscope or something just to make things a little bit easier because I'm getting older. My eyes are getting worse.
Honestly, at that size, if you just wanted to cup them and kind of just like look underneath, it should be.
Yeah.
And when I move her, it might be move it. That might be the move. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's rehouse some Bacillotharia stuff that needed to get upgraded. That's pretty much it. Nothing new.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You keep bird eaters, and I personally, the Pinkfoot one, I had that one for like maybe almost a year, and it got pretty big, and I don't know what happened, but it just stopped growing and then died. And I think what it probably came down to was humidity. Like I don't think I had a good thing down, like going at when I put on the space heater, sometimes things dry out a little bit faster, and I think maybe it could have been that I didn't stay on top of it as much as I should have. But I definitely would love to get another because that's the only of that genus that I don't have now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not that there's that many, because there's only
No.
like 3, but
Yeah. I think there's definitely. I know with older. We were talking about this in the ArachNerds chat. Which, if you guys are listening and you guys want to be a part of it, just shoot me or Justin a message. It's a growing chat that we have with some keepers and
Instagram,
everything.
yeah.
It's really cool. We can just bounce things off each other, or ask questions and learn from each other. But yeah. But with Theraphosa, I know there's always been issues with adults. Always with like their fast growth rate. Anything with a fast growth rate usually comes with some sort of complications. I know with adults, mainly Sturmy. I haven't seen as much in Blondie or Apophysis. You have those cysts forming.
cysts.
So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if like something similar could happen to the young ones, like internally, that we just don't know. Especially again
Yeah.
because they're jumping quite big in their growth spurts and everything. So maybe we just don't know, and the complications arise pretty quickly.
They're the
I
great
would like
Danes of the
to
tarantula
say
world.
I would like to say for sure, like what happened, or it wasn't my fault, but I can't say for sure. However, I do think that in the past I was not good enough like at keeping the humid species as humid as they should have been. Um, just I don't know, like I had issues with that, and then also the T Celedonia is another that I've had issues with. So sore topic, but
That
I just
seems
have
like one
issues
that a
with.
lot of people are struggling with, though.
either they do great or they do awful, and maybe I just had bad luck. I don't know, but
Mhm.
Or maybe you just need to get a real tarantula because Xenestus or Pamphobeteus. There's no point
I
in having
have
like a,
both of those. I have both of those.
but you need
So
all of them. All of them.
actually, so you say it's Xenethus, right?
Xenestus, yeah.
Xenethus. Okay, I have one of those that I've grown out quite a bit. It's a female.
Okay.
It's like a purple one. Say some of the names so I can remember which one it is.
So there's Intermedia,
It's that
Immanis.
one.
Immanis?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay,
yeah.
got it. I'm
Yeah.
really,
It's like purple. Well, they're all like kind of
yeah.
purpley, but
And then depending on when you got it, import wise, depending on when it came from Europe, there was the long hair and short hair form, which they only came in on one import, I believe. So I like grabbed a couple of each, which is no point of that
yeah,
back in the day.
it's the Imanis. I've
Okay.
actually had that one for like 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's doing
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, I remember the person who when I was getting out of the hobby, I sold the majority of my Xenestus and Pamphidius too, and like I circled back with them or whatever. I think all but one are still alive, and I'm just like, oh, that that hurts. That hurts
Yeah.
because like,
I have all my Pamphobedia slings when I got in the hobby and that I had gotten, they're all still doing good. So
that's great.
I've had a great luck with that genus.
I'm j- I'm just always
I don't know.
curious because like the amount of one because like we get like hordes big of Xenestus Pamphobidius, especially because we can the breedings that happen in the United States are like big deals because we just don't breed them that often.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we're importing them at such an extent. It's like, where are all the adults?
Kind of like
More,
retics.
yeah,
Where are all the babies going that are being produced?
yeah. But yeah,
The Phidippus,
what?
which oh, or the which one did he say?
Oh, he was saying,
Reticulated pythons.
Oh, okay. He said
yeah.
Regi. I thought he meant the Phidippus regius. My bad.
No, no, it's just a South Carolina accent.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say so many people are breeding jumping spiders now, and there's like so many babies that they give, and they give like multiple clutches. Where do all those babies go? And I was gonna say
Right.
they die. They like I know so many people who have bred them, and then like the whole sack has just died.
Ugh.
I'm like, well, they do that sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
How often are people letting those broods sort of stay together and sort of call themselves?
I keep them together for a while.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because I'm curious as
I've
to
had better luck that way.
what the threshold is for like, okay, we can tell that we have at least 200 slings here. Like, let's keep
Mhm.
them together for a while and let Darwin do his thing, and
Yeah.
one of the same thing with some tarantulas. It's like it makes sense because I mean it's like with snakes and stuff. Like there's a reason mom has so many of them and they're not all meant to be. Like it's probably
Yeah,
not that bad of an idea to let them pick out the weaker ones and survive.
yeah, it's super interesting, especially with like when you look at like some tarantulas like Acanthoscura geniculata, they'll have like or Lasiodora parabana, they have like hundreds of slings in egg sac, but then you have like something that has a different lifestyle, like Xenestus. Don't mean to keep on going back to them, but
Sure.
they have less than 100 sometimes, and but the slings, so it's like two different life strategies. You have a crap ton of them and small, like the typical new world look of a sling, like the little black patch. I forgot the not the mirror. Is it the mirror patch? I forgot the technical name for it. And or you have like already a sling right out, like that's the after the first molt that you could pretty much sex right off the bat.
Mhm.
So I always find that kind of interesting. But yeah,
Doesn't surprise me about jumpers though. I can imagine jumpers reproduce like crazy because
yeah,
they're
Yep.
kind of similar to chameleons, like not a crazy long lifespan. They're kind of a burn and fizzle, like turn and burn quick, crank out babies, die, repeat. I've never kept jumpers, so I don't know.
Same.
Soon.
I've always kind of like steered away from true spiders.
What kind
Just
of podcast is this? I thought this was called
I
ArachNerds,
know.
and
I
we
know.
don't keep jumping
It's.
spiders or true spiders.
We're just gonna
oh
call
no.
it Pamphibedius and Poecilotheria. 'cause
You guys are
apparently that's what-
posers. You
I
are
know.
posers.
See, this is why we have guests on like you who are well versed in the other ones, so we could learn about them.
I'm
Because
not
like,
even that well versed. You're kind of
hey,
screwed, buddy.
I definitely think that you're one of the like you're one of the people that kind of put especially like jumpers on the map per se,
I
just because
appreciate
I
that, but don't say that in front of a lot of these dudes.
hey, I've had friends message me something. Oh, like, do you know who this person is? They have jumping spiders. I'm like, oh, who's the person? They're like, Kat. I'm like, yeah, I know her. And
Mm,
but
yeah.
but yeah, you help kind of like push them in. You and your plushies kind of help push them into uh like
Yeah.
make spiders not as, I don't know, intimidating per
Yeah.
Yeah.
se. Um, but yeah, that's a topic I kind of like hit on later on as
Yeah, we
well.
needed more girlies. So I was like, how am I going to get more girls in the hobby? I'm going to show them the cutest spiders ever. And guess what? It worked. Now a bunch of dudes are mad at me. What's
it's
new?
it's definitely interesting to see how the hobby has changed back from
Totally.
like arachnoboards day.
Birds?
English is hard, okay, but
You're
then
doing
like
great, sweetie.
but then to what it is now with the Facebook groups and everything, for
Yeah.
better or for worse, whatever drama occurs on the Facebook groups, it's like it's reaching more of an audience, and then like I'm like seeing more posts about like people, saying like, oh, like this tarantula is so cute or whatever, something like that,
Yeah.
which yeah, which which is like, hey, I mean, like if that gets you over your fears or whatever, you picking up
Yeah.
buying a trans gets over your fears and makes you double double guess like, oh, if you see a spider in your house, killing it or just relocating it, I
Yeah.
mean, hey, power to you. I mean, then I don't know,
Yeah.
more education that way. It's
We
always
were
great.
talking about it last episode too. Like how many people got in? Like how many people got into tarantulas because of jumpers and things like that?
Yeah,
You know, it's like such a
Yeah.
like large gateway.
drug.
You know that really
Yep.
exploded the hobby. I'm sure, and I feel like if you looked at a timeline long enough and you saw Google searches and stuff, you would see like when jumpers really sort of took off. I think you'd see a pretty immediate
Yeah.
uptick and people getting into it. So it's
Which
cool.
Yeah.
I'm even surprised because like jumpers like back in the day, like in the 2000 like
Nobody
early
cared.
2010, yeah, nobody cared about them. I'm like I was buying like,
Yeah.
I didn't see them on any price list really, or if I did, nobody was snatching
No.
them up. Everybody always wanted like the Latrodectus or the Loxalis or something like that. I mean, I know I went for those too. If I saw a Fitibus, I'm like, I could see that in my backyard. Why do I want that?
That's how I got into the hobby though, was finding a Phidippus adox and keeping it. And like there was no information anywhere about keeping them at all. And so I found tarantula information and I like copied that. And then like eventually it was Tom Patterson had sent me a box of spiders and he just put a few jumping spiders in there as like freebies. And I just started filming like those and people like loved them. Those videos did amazing and people were like invested in me like keeping them and filming them and it just kind of took off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they kind of play into like what people think of like, I guess, normal cute animals, the larger front-facing eyes and everything,
Hmm.
like that. But yeah, that kind of your comment kind of spurs us into kind of like our like one of the main talking points I kind of want to hit on first was like, what kind of brought you into the hobby? Like, what was your first like invert or tarantula and stuff
Our,
like that? What was your
our guest this episode is Tarantula Kat for anybody that hasn't caught on yet.
Thanks. Um, yeah, so I've told this story a million times, so I'll keep it pretty short, but I just have always kept a million pets. When I was a kid, I'd be begging for hermit crabs, fish, hamsters, all that. And obviously, the care back then was nothing where it's at now. I just actually did a video a few months ago. I got a couple hermit crabs that somebody had dropped off at the pet store. And the pet store I always go to, I was like, hey, what's the deal with those? And they're like, oh, somebody dropped them off. You can just have them. I was like, cool. Took them home, did a bunch of research, 40 gallon. like tank now on my shelf with my hermit crabs and their salt water, and so cares change a bunch. But back when I was a kid, we kept them on gravel. That was definitely my first invert. uh, However, as I got older, I got really into fish, and I had a bunch of fish tanks. I had no outlets anywhere because just fish tanks. And once I had Fiona, I got like pregnant, and I still kept all my animals, but I didn't buy more animals. And eventually, I saw a jumping spider on the window one day, and I decided that's kind of cool. I'm gonna keep it as a pet, and here we are. So
What uh what was your first tarantula?
it was a curly hair.
And how was
I'm gonna
that?
kill
Because
you guys with common names.
I
Yeah, no,
got I got a curly hair with the intent of it being an educational animal for an event
Oh
I was
yeah?
doing last year, and I was like, it's a curly hair, it'll be great, it'll be chill. Like that spider is not calm. That spider is like
Yeah.
she wants to eat everything all the time, and I'm like, thank God I figured that out before I decided to try and put it in the my hands and show it to a child.
Yeah, so I actually settled on that spider because I wanted an Aphonopelma calcodes. I couldn't find one anywhere. The reason why, though, was because when I was searching like first tarantulas, I don't know if you guys remember this video, but um, it was a video by Jungle Bob on like the how-to channel,
Oh
and
yeah.
he called it a Palomino blonde. And I'm like, that's the tarantula I want. Like, so I start going to all these pet stores asking for a Palomino blonde. I'm Googling Palomino blonde. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. They're thinking I'm talking about the Samopaeus pulcher and stuff. And I'm just like, no, it's not that one. That's why I couldn't find it. So thank you, Jungle Bob, for making my life hard. I settled on a curly hair. And I was I wanted another jumping spider, but I couldn't find another jumping spider, so I bought, a tarantula, and that's it just built.
yes. So then, when did the whole Tarantula Cat become a thing?
I have old videos from like 2012 filming my fish tanks and filming my hams or my gerbils. I had 3 gerbils, filming them at the time. They're all privated now, but I did film my pets before tarantulas, so that started, like, 2011, 2012-ish, and, yeah, then when I was doing my research on spiders, I found the Dark Den, and I met Exotic Slayer, and his channel, he had, like, a couple thousand subscribers at the time, and we kinda just hit it off, and he blew up, and you know they just kind of helped me out. We became friends, and you know took advice from them, and I feel like I got incredibly lucky because I kind of fell into that community and it just clicked, whereas when
Mhm.
I first fell into the like tarantula community Facebook groups, it did not click. I had a lot of issues with not being accepted, because I thought my tarantulas were cute and I named them and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think early on, especially, I don't know how it is right now because I haven't been really active ever since I got out of the hobby. I haven't really been active on the social media aspect, but I know in the beginning, at least the Facebook groups, the whole when people were transitioning from arachnoboards to Facebook groups, that was a big thing because you would get crucified if you're called a tarantula cute, or
I
you would look
know.
personify them on the. And truth be told, I was one of those little assholes on there being I'm like correcting people. I'm like, how are you gonna like misspell a scientific name and then you want to get the transfer? And I'm just like, what are you? But learn from my mistakes. I was young, I was dumb. We all go through phases. Um,
What a hipster.
but but yeah, I definitely think there was a like there was a point where it seemed kind of gatekeepy
Oh
uh
yeah.
with transfers. A lot of the old school keepers were not the old school, but I guess like the people just transitioning over who have kept for like a short period of time. Whenever someone wanted to get them and they didn't say the right keywords, then they were like, no. You're not getting information from us, or why are you keeping it like this, or why didn't you do this? And we
Yeah.
just kind of, I guess, they just kind of forgot their roots, like where you came from.
I
because
I see that now, interestingly enough, though, in the jumping spider hobby, and
Really?
I don't like it. I don't like the gatekeeping. If somebody asks a question, just answer it. Like, you don't have to be mean. And then I hate, like, how people will get into the hobby and then suddenly, like, a couple weeks later, they're a breeder and they have a whole care guide that they wrote. And
Yep.
then they're
yeah,
like at other people, like at their throats arguing, and it's like, calm down. Like, this hobby is for everyone. It is for everyone. And that has always been like my message. It is for everyone. If you want to go outside and catch a little jumping spider on your tree and do a budget friendly thing, you can do that. Like, if you want to invest all this money in these enclosures and make these nice bioactive setups, you can do that. Doesn't matter who you are or anything like that, how much money you have, it can work for anybody. And that's my message.
yeah, I definitely agree. There's no one right way to go about this, no matter no matter like how like what people think. As long as not, as long as you're not keeping a vermiculite like they did back in the day, you're perfectly fine. We learned from that. We moved
Well,
on.
we can correct people for sure, but I
Yeah,
just mean that the little attitudes, from the
yeah,
old school people and like the newer people that come
yeah,
in and like want to be a, I don't know, boss,
yeah.
That's
authority.
the exact sort of point of contention, I think, is like you have the people that have been in it a long time and feel like they've worked to get to where they are and like they've paid their dues, so to
Mhm.
speak. And then you have the newer people who come in and wanna run before they crawl.
Yeah,
And
and
no
Yeah.
one, because of the internet and the way we communicate now, like as a species, people are it's weird to be new and green to something.
mhm,
Like people feel, I guess there's this, from what I perceive, there's this weird pressure to like, if you join a group, like you have to be on the level with everyone else. Like you can't
Yeah.
come in fresh. Like you're not. And so there's this weird sort of thing where people have to jump to be high up on the, on the ladder sort of immediately. And I think that's where the clashing happens is, the
Yeah.
older people recognize that and that stuff.
My other message is it's okay to say you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, just it's fine. I've been doing this for like 8 years now. I don't know. Like, sometimes people send me a message and I don't know. I'll ask Tom or I'll ask
Yeah.
somebody, else.
yeah.
It's okay. It's all
It's
right to still be learning.
yeah. It's I guess it goes back to one thing, especially with tarantulas. I know it's not the perfect phrase for it, but there's a low barrier for entry, meaning that you can acquire them fairly easily. Unlike with reptiles, for example, these guys you could take a lot less space. So you could have like
Mhm.
a small rack and have hundreds of them.
And for a
And
lot less money.
yeah, and then people who acquire a bunch of them all of a sudden like I've seen in the past when I was like admitting some groups, they think just because they acquired them all and they've had them for like a month, they have nailed down everything and they become like a source of like, oh, it worked for me for X amount of time. But interestingly enough, then you also have like the old school keepers like Tom, for example, and he's just like, and they're just like as nonchalant as ever
Yeah.
about things. So like that's always been kind of funny. And when people are going back to your point saying that like we just don't know, I mean, like, how do you think we kind of like, I mean, back back in the day when like Facebook and stuff wasn't as big and it was just forums, when we got a new species in the hobby, yes, to an extent we know about them. Oh, tropical, it's this. But then when we got to breeding, I'm like, we wouldn't know. I mean, even now, there's species that we still don't know about, like
Yeah.
how to breed, like Abedomegaphoebema. Um, like we're still learning how to properly keep them in like an environment that we keep the other transils in. And I don't know. You're always going to be learning one way or another. There's no if it's not keeping arachnids or reptiles or animals in general. You're always going to be learning. Nobody's an expert. I mean, try not to be one. Just be a sponge. Soak up as much information as you can. Well,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And be nice. God,
yeah,
so
Yeah,
annoying.
that's what I do. I struggle to wrap my head around the whole thing of like getting in an argument with someone in a group. It's like just the solution is simple. Like you don't have to respond.
Mhm.
Someone asks a question, you don't have to pipe up. Like you're not required to say anything. Like, let it be somebody else's problem if that's.
So many people like send me videos or clips of some person doing something like wrong, and they like want me to immediately jump on a video and be
Yeah.
like, guys, oh my God, like, and like bash them. And it's like, I don't play into that. I'm not going to do that. I've corrected things publicly before, and it's never a positive
Nope.
like experience for anybody. It doesn't, and that's what I've learned. It's not productive most of the time. They just want that drama and
Yeah.
Yeah.
arguing.
And that's why I kind of wish, like, back in the day, I don't know if you guys know, like, I believe it was John 3800,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
I
everything
did a
back when
video with them before.
is he still around? I don't.
Yeah, I think he still posts sometimes.
Okay, because
Yeah,
like,
he posted one. I think one of the recent like tarantula related ones. I think he posted was like
Yeah,
maybe
he's
a
such a
year ago.
sweet guy.
yeah, I mean, like, he's what
He's
STEM
posting
because
his lawnmower content.
Yeah.
yeah, his especially I love so like I was really like I came in to like the hobby like kind of similar like with reptiles where I'm like scientific names first and foremost, and his kind of videos kind of like 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 they were, at least to me, they were more scientific in kind of like how he was doing, and they really appealed to me, and that really kind of like made me more excited for them. But like but my point is, like, going back in those days, like, where there wasn't all this like, or like on social media there wasn't that much drama, there wasn't like, oh my god, um blah 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 whatever on his
Yeah.
YouTube videos. And now you could pull up any kind of like like tarantula like YouTuber, go to the comments, there's gonna be like a lot of negative stuff, and a lot of it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, like, again, similar to Justin's point, you don't like it, scroll on. It's not
I get
everything.
comments on snake videos fairly regularly, and people
Yeah,
saying like, "Why would you do it like that? You should do it like this." And it's like I'm at a point where I just don't even respond. Like
yeah, it's
I
not
don't,
worth the time and energy.
just not gonna bother. Like no one's gonna change their mind. It's not like I don't know you. You're an anonymous name on the internet. Like I that your opinion holds zero weight to me.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
And
it's
I'll
just
be the first one to say that with the arachnid community, more so, I've had to take a step back, just because, not because I got like overwhelmed from the animals themselves, but from the people. Just like the
Yeah.
constant, like, I remember having accidentally, well, I thought I was doing a good thing, correcting someone's like spelling of a scientific name, and I didn't say it in a rude way. And he messaged me saying, "Come to Florida. We'll figure this out in a parking lot." And I'm just like,
Jesus.
"I'm good. I'm good."
Catch me outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like seen a lot of people come and go from the hobby, but I will say like I can understand it, but I would never like get rid of my animal. Like my animals are my peace. So like there's that social part of the hobby, but like you don't have to engage in it
Yeah.
if you
Thank
don't want
God it's
to.
not required.
Yeah. So like, that's always an option if if you need breaks from the social part, like trust me, I get it. I'm not allowed to take them, but you guys can.
I will also preface my leaving from the hobby a couple times was because I was in school, going to
Yeah,
college, moving around for
I
work
know.
and everything. So, but yeah, I completely get that. Which is what I do now too. I think when I step back into the whole inverse thing, I'll just have my group of friends, um, and just go from there. Because, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what
uh,
I've come to find is most enjoyable though about it is like when you have sort of your core group of people and your circle is fairly small and it's just more enjoyable when it's your most like I mean aside from like the group chats and stuff that you and I are in for podcast stuff and whatnot like I enjoy that more than I enjoy like going into groups and commenting and having conversations there. I just like I don't know. I get little enjoyment out of that kind of stuff. I'd much rather bullshit with you guys and
I
yeah,
personally like love my community. Like I have the best community ever. I have the best viewers ever. I deal with
you have the
very
best
little.
fans ever.
I don't ever call them fans ever. They're viewers. They view my content. But I genuinely have the best community, and honestly, like, it makes me so happy that people coming into the hobby through my videos can fall into this community because I know how welcoming and helpful it is. Obviously, every community can have some bad eggs or some drama pop off or something like that. I haven't really seen it, but like I know it exists, but like genuinely, have the best viewers ever. They're all amazing. I've talked to so many of them. I've met so many of them, and they're elite. I love them.
Yeah, I will say that I do like. I mean, because you're a friend and everything, when I pop up your videos, of course, I don't want to see anything negative. But like the vast majority is positive. It's to
Well,
the
if you
extent where,
joke about something negative, then you get
yeah,
attacked for it.
yeah, and then I have to message you, hey, can you comment on this saying I'm a friend of yours, and I'm not getting like inboxed all these threats.
No, it's don't make the girlies mad.
Yeah,
Um,
learn that the hard
no,
way.
but no, but I mean genuinely, like, yeah. I'm not saving you. I'm not.
Yeah, you
You're
haven't.
on your own, buddy.
Eat them.
You
Get
made your
them.
bed. Now you got to lie in it.
Get them.
But kind of circling back because you talked about all like what you've kept in the past and everything animal wise, from gerbils to hermit crabs, to arachnids. What do you keep currently right now? Because I've seen on your Instagram feed like you've kept a wide variety of arachnids, ranging from like Loxalis to
Oh yeah.
obviously like tarantulas, then velvet spiders, jumping spiders. I saw
Mhm.
some species of crab on there. I've seen your cats on there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you keep right now?
So I keep like everything. My favorite thing to keep though is it's so hard to admit this, but I think I like true spiders better.
Really?
I think so most of the time. Um, but I love tarantulas. I have some favorites for sure, and I'll always keep both, like always, like but the true spider's a little bit more fun sometimes. I don't know, you can get really creative when it comes to jumping spider enclosures. I love that aspect. Um, yeah, they're great. But the hermit crabs are new. I got those a couple months ago, and I have 11 snakes now. 11 snakes,
What
some
species?
frogs. I'm not going to say species, but I have two ball pythons,
Okay.
Mexican black king snake, Honduran milk snake, Halloween milk snake, ghost milk snake, wait, Pueblan Halloween, and then Honduran ghost milk snake. Lots of colubrids. Is that the
Mhm.
word? You
Yeah,
Mhm.
expert? Yeah.
yeah. That's
And rosy boas, which I don't know
Nice.
why, but they just bite me all the time now. So
I've heard they're pretty bitey.
they
Um,
never were until recently. So I don't know what happened, but they just, anytime I reach in there, they just eat me.
I had one as a kid and it was terrible, and I've never kept them since.
I was misled because the first one I got, it was some guys. He lost it in his basement for a year and he got rid of all the stuff and he needed somewhere for it to go. And somebody like referred him to me and I was like, sure, I'll take it. It was our first rosy boa, sweetest snake ever. We still have her. Her name's Willow. Um, could handle her all the time. And then so I got two more in different colors and they get
Not
me.
the same.
yeah.
They get
Uh,
me. But they're babies too. So, well, they
No.
were. They're not anymore, but
and then one thing that was kind of cool that I saw recently-ish is that you had I forgot the exact one, but it's the Asian forest scorpion complex. You had a bunch of babies,
oh
like
yeah,
from
dude.
there.
Yeah, those are so
Congrats
fun.
on
Those
that.
are so Mr. Tarantula Cat is he's the scorpion daddy here. So he got all the scorpions. Those are his babies. And he he loves those things. He feeds them all the time. He baby talks them. I mean, if he was on Facebook posting about how cute they are, he'd get roasted for sure.
So what's
He's
the as far as like true spiders go though? Because it's been the opposite for me for the most part. Like the only reason I haven't really gotten into true spiders is just because the lifespan not being as long. Um, I've kept Latrodectus in the past and really enjoyed those, but I haven't kept jumpers. I haven't really kept any huntsmen or anything like that. But I don't know. I just like the fact that tarantulas are around longer, and it's the same reason I don't really bother with chameleons anymore either, is because I feel like you get attached to them, and then by the time you're like
yeah.
really invested in it, it's gone.
So velvet spiders actually live like a pretty long time. I'm not sure of the exact number, but I had my adult velvet spider for probably about 4 years,
Oh,
and
okay.
she was an adult at that point, so
Mhm.
she was probably pretty old. Um, and I've had there's like a couple true spiders that have a longer lifespan.
Mhm.
I will say I'm not a big fan of huntsmen. They're too fast and scary for me, but I love widows are cool. I think jumping spiders and velvet spiders are my favorite though. I also love brown recluse.
Mhm.
I've learned so much about them, and that became like a big thing for a while. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough, and I mean, maybe there's gonna be a point where I do see a species or something that does pique my interest. Seeing some of the
Oh,
wandering spiders and
trapdoors.
trapdoors
Trapdoors are
are at the top
so
of that list.
cool. They're so cool. I mean, those aren't technic I mean, are they true spiders though? I think they're a different
They're a
family.
mygalomorph, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But would you refer to trapdoors as true spiders?
No, you would refer. Megalomorphs are the more primitive ones, so tarantulas fall
Yeah.
into that. So
But
So
we
not
have a native
necessarily,
species
but
here that I want to find. I've only seen one here ever, and I think when I was a teenager, and it was randomly in my parents' garage. And I was like, "What the hell is that?" Because I'd never seen one before. Didn't know we had any. I knew it was like a trapdoor, but I was like, I didn't even know those were a thing here. Um, so we have a species here, and I feel like they're probably not that difficult to find. They're just so well tucked away that you don't know they're there. And so
mhm.
I'm hoping this year I can, when it starts to warm up, I can get my hands on some because those would be really fun to keep. I like native stuff, you know.
me too. Me too.
and
I went out and I went herping for a Phonopelma hensi here, and that was like one of the funnest days ever, except for all the ticks. There were ticks everywhere. It was the worst. Um, but yeah, I love hensi. We found black widows. We found a bunch of scorpions. I'm not sure what the species name is, but there was a ton that we had to wear gloves to flip the rocks because they're under, you don't want to get
Mhm,
stung.
mhm.
It was a lot of fun. I love all the native wildlife here, all the native spiders. We have awesome Phidippus here. Every year when we go swimming, the first thing I do when we get to the pool is I go through the little baskets, like
Yeah,
that's the first thing I do. I save all the frogs. I collect specimens if it's dead and still looks good, and I save spiders. I find everything in there.
Yeah, it's real. I find it great that you're excited about the native species. I know I'll be the first to admit it wasn't until later on in my keeping both reptiles and inverts where I didn't really necessarily care too much about the native ones. I'm like, oh, I could find them whatever. I could find them whenever I want to. But like this Asian species or this South American species, like I need them. But it wasn't until later where I gained more respect for them, and then I started going on like trips. I don't know if you know Drew Granado.
Mm-mm.
He I went down to Arizona with him and a few of his buddies, and we went looking for a fauna palm over there. We found a number of species.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't find any herps. Unfortunately, it was still too early on in the year, so I would like to go back to find some croats and um, really want to find a coral snake down over there.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
but
awesome.
but just seeing the even in Arizona itself, which I highly recommend both of you, if you want to go see wildlife on a Palma, Arizona has quite the diversity. I know we drove
Yeah.
like 2 hours and we saw like three different species across there.
I'm going out there. The first thing I'm going and looking for is ridge nose.
Yeah, definitely.
Man. Like,
If I had more time and I planned it out more, I would have loved to go see that. But like, but for the I only had like 2 days, so it's like you know what, a phone and Palma are within reach. Let's go get
Yeah.
them, and their diversity in itself. It's like um, some were more. Uh, so we found like a Marxy type. Um, that one was just like under a boulder, or whatever. Angry little thing. Uh, but the calico is we found a crap ton of the burrows, but they were obviously like much more deeper, being a more arid species. Because we found the Marxy up near Sedona, I think, and there was still snow on the
That's
ground.
where I was before,
um,
yeah. Sedona is, like, a good spot.
Yeah, and
I
then
went
like
there in
we were
2019.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was like things like it was an area where you wouldn't even expect to like, oh, snow on the ground. There's not gonna be any tarantulas. Well, there is. And
Yeah,
then
a lot of Vonapel when we were in Texas. I think it was the Texas tans. I don't know what the scientific name is of those, but
Yeah, a phonopelma annex.
okay. Yeah, I saw a lot of those when we were out
They're
there.
very similar to Hensley.
Really cool.
yeah, I'm very curious to see. I want to talk. I want to see if I can get Brent on. He's one of the experts of the phone Palma and everything, and I'm sure we have a number of like lookalikes in the hobby because, as you both probably know, two trans can look the same but be completely different species underneath the microscope and everything. So, really want to talk to him about that, get his take on that because I know he's been finding a lot of interesting stuff. So, just like within like what we think is the same, just because they follow
Right.
the same general, like it looks the same, it's the same colors, it's in what we think is the same area, but just the diversity of them in general is pretty cool. So to kind of segue off that, what is your favorite species of tarantula, scorpion, true spider? If you had to pick one from each group, what would they be?
Uh, True spider would be Gandiana species echinata, which is what Wednesday was, a velvet spider. I like that species particularly because the babies do not eat their mom, whereas other velvet spider species will eat their mom. So I don't think I could breed the other species.
Yeah, that'd be a bummer.
But I also love Hylas. Hylas jumping spiders are cool. The Giganteus especially. So maybe it's a tie. Scorpion, Asian forest scorpion. I don't care how boring it is. I know that's not a species. There's 3 different species in that common name. I don't care. I love them all. Um, I'm not huge into scorpions though. That's Mr. Tarantula Cat. And then tarantulas. See, and this is why I got bullied too. And it's fine. Tom Patterson made me cry once because I said that in a phonopilma Hensi was my dream spider. And he said like you know what he would say to that. But
Yeah,
I don't even care. That was like years and years ago. Obviously my dream spider has changed a million times, but my favorite I think is going to be Grammostola pulchra forever. Sometimes it's E why am I blanking?
Chemistratus, what are
E
some things?
campistratus sometimes. Yeah. E campistratus and G pulchra tie.
All right, some basics, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The
I
older I
see,
get, the
and
more
that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
coming
I
to.
got bullied for that.
Yeah, the older I'm getting, the more I appreciate sort of the more basic brown earth tone spiders.
And
They're
yet you like
fun. You can and
Metallica.
They are
listen.
fun.
Okay, then like
Well,
Paphomedius, why do you like Poecilotheria then? What brown earth tone is Metallica compared
That's
to like a nice?
uh,
said some. I didn't say
I
all.
have I will say, I'm not into Poecilotheria very much at all, but I have a couple Vittata that I bought just because, the opportunity arose in my state, and I said, "Yeah, all right, I'll
Mhm.
take a couple." And I've been having fun with them. I'm, not my cup of tea usually, but I really like them both. So, you can
I've
like both. I just prefer one.
I've noticed it seems like a lot of the stuff you're keeping you're not doing a whole lot of arboreals. Is
No,
it
I
safe to
have.
say that a lot
I
of
mean,
it
I
is?
don't. I have a lot I don't show though. Like I haven't
Okay.
even mentioned these. I have these 2 blondies. I'm not going to mention them for a few months at least.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there's a lot I don't show. I have more than I it seems like I'm always feeding the same like 10, 15 tarantulas in videos, but that's just because I mean, imagine you're filming a feeding video. How many of those tarantulas do you think are actually going to come out and eat for a video?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So people are seeing the same like 20 spiders, but I have over 100.
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean that's what like I don't know. I guess a lot of people are lulled into like seeing feeding videos and being like, oh, all transfers are going to be like that. Yet it
Hmm.
really boils down to the individual for the most part, outside of like
Mhm.
some like genera or species that are like that. Is there any species you want to keep in the future that you want to acquire in 2025? Something new or just something that you've always had your
Oh
eye
yeah.
on?
I forget the name. I'm supposed to get some soon from Tom Patterson. I'm pretty excited about it. It's a Ceratogyrus species, but it's like a newer one.
Okay.
It has it. What is the name? Let me scroll up.
I want those cordatus again now that I see that Dylan has some.
Oh, the Ternoclus. Those
Yeah.
are nice. I guess my only issue with baboons is like I always get kind of sad whenever I raise up a bunch, and I always had bad luck with them getting males, and they would always just be like males. I'm just like crap, and they like mature a lot quicker than
Mm-hmm.
a lot of New World ones.
I'm so dumb. I already have it. He sent it to me already. But there's this other one. I already have that one. It's a Ceratogyrus that I wanted, a newer one. But the one that I am getting, it's a. Can you read that? Zero something.
I can't
It
read
I
that.
can't see it.
it's Ceratophilis species,
Here,
Dominican Republic horn. It's a New World species that has a horn. It's not the S. hoffmanni.
Huh.
It's not like the biggest horn ever, but it's like a little nub that they get on their head. And the joke is that I always say my S. hoffmanni, oh, this is the only New World species that has a horn. And then
Mhm.
one day he like quietly messaged me and he's like, hey, stop saying that. And I was like, why? And he like told me that this other New World has a horn too. And so that's what that is, and that's what I'm supposed to be getting soon.
That's really cool. I mean, like, there's like things like so. I'm part of like a couple of WhatsApp groups with Colombian tarantula keepers, and then I was in one with some South African keepers, and they'd be posting photos of ones like, oh, we found this in our house, whatever, and it's like completely brand new and everything. We haven't heard about it before. I'm just like, that's stunning, and I'm sure there's like a lot more horned ones out there somewhere, like with that, but those are just really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the male mature well for this strategizer, so it's like the male mature size is disappointing because they don't have that much growing to do. But yeah, they're really cool. I really
Did you
and
see
going.
these? Sorry.
Oh no, go on. Sorry.
Did you see these new Nandus from Brazil? The Nandu Sarah Dennis. They're like blue and they have a bright red abdomen.
Yeah, so I saw photos of them a while back, I'd say, because they were over in Europe, but
Yeah.
they were just never really brought in. Go figure. Europe.
Apparently they are now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're really cool. I know that what do you call it? Chromatus was now is now Vitalis, which is interesting because there was also Vitalis platyoma, so that's where the whole Pamphobedia species platyoma came from, which is really cool. But yeah, no, Nandu hairs would destroy me all the time. They,
Yeah, I got like
I
a rash from that before.
yeah, like either I really like the tripepii, something like that. I really like them. To
I have that, yeah.
I forgot who in the chat said they compared it to an orangutan, but those
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Phil King.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah, that was like that made me die laughing. But like I really loved them and everything, but it would just like suck, especially when because again rehousing them, I would always wear gloves and everything just because it would like they would kick, it would suck. I would get yeah no. I love New Worlds. I do. Those are some things I don't miss.
Colorado Velocis for a while. That was a fun species.
I haven't. I don't. I think I kept them. Christina Roberts. I think she produced a bunch. They had like I want to say upwards of 600 slings.
Yeah, I mean
So like
this was a long
yeah,
time ago.
yeah.
I don't
So they
remember
were
how I even got it, but I just remember enjoying it. It was just a fun
yeah.
species.
Like I know she was like asking people if they wanted some because like she had like a bunch and I
Mhm.
think I took a couple off her hands. I'm just like these are great. The hairs suck. This is miserable, but they look cool and they look great. I love their habits. I mean, like, I completely understand why they have the hairs. Great for wild survival, not great in Nisarg's house.
Bubble Boy. Do
um,
you get being a person in the public eye in the hobby? How many messages do you get with people wanting to know like what do you recommend for a first tarantula? Like how should I do this? Like do you become sort of a hotline of sorts when people have questions?
So I actually just recently got a little heat for this online because a lot of people were upset that I didn't respond to their questions, and they were comparing me to other YouTubers and saying, well, this YouTuber responded and this one responded and she never does, and I cannot. If it's a pressing question, ask a vet. Go to a tarantula group. I have a Discord. Go in there. There's so many people that would help. Will help you. I cannot be 911 if you have a tarantula question. I will do my best, but I'm not opening all my messages. So if it's a pressing question, go to a vet or go ask my Discord, or there's so many good groups out there. However, I do respond to my comments the most. I read every comment pretty much on YouTube and Instagram for the most part, unless something like goes like kind of viral, then I stop after a certain point because it starts turning into the kill it with fire people, and I don't have the patience for
Oh
that,
yeah,
or the set them free people. So I got to stop.
I've
But
seen a
for the
lot of
most
that
part,
recently. It seems like
yeah,
it
me
seems
too.
between reptiles and inverts, it seems
I'm pretty
within
sure
the
that
last
PETA
couple
wrote an
months.
article about me once, so
Really?
I'm pretty sure it was yeah. So, but um, if you have a question, ask me in the comments, like on Instagram or YouTube, and I'll see it. There's a good chance I'll see it. Um, yeah, it was funny though because like the one person who was like going on and on posting about how Tarantula Cat didn't answer and da 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 da. The question they wanted to know, it's like I have like so many videos on that topic. Just watch the videos. I've made full videos on that topic.
Well, that seems to be a struggle with people I've noticed too in groups is like the ability to do simple research is a chore. Like I don't know if it's because people think that maybe their certain scenario is something
Yeah.
new or there's something different about it to where they feel like they need to get a specified answer catered more
Yeah.
towards their situation. But it's just, man, I
I
remember
just I
in
could
the Blogger
never like
groups.
reach out. Sorry. I never could reach out to a like somebody who's like a YouTuber or a content creator and I had like a pressing question. The first person I reached out to would probably not be a content creator, like because I wouldn't expect them to like I, I don't know. Like I've messaged YouTubers or content creators I didn't know before and they don't open my messages like and I don't get mad.
Yeah,
It's just like they're
that's
busy,
weird. It's a
Yeah.
weird thing to get upset about.
Yeah, especially like when you think about it, especially like someone's video is getting like tens of thousands of views or more, like especially in this day and age where TikTok and stuff like that gets millions of views. What makes you, it's like no offense to anybody out there, but what makes your message stand out? What like why do you I mean we're all people here. We don't have infinite time and I was modding some groups and there were some days I'd get 20 messages and there were some days I can't even respond like I don't even respond back to some of my like friends because life gets too hectic and everything at times.
Yeah.
Justin, you probably know this, sometimes I drag at responding to even close friends. So what makes you think I'm going to
That's because you have a freaky ass work schedule, dude.
that's fair. But
Like I have a
I
question to
just
ask
like
me third, but it's 8 o'clock and I know he's probably already asleep. So.
I just get so like I try to go through my messages, but then I'll like go to my message request and I just immediately get like so much anxiety and I just feel so overwhelmed that like I just look at it and I just go and put it down like most
Yeah.
of the time.
yeah.
But like in this you saw the other day I did a Q&A on Instagram and on my close friends story, what were the first few questions that I was asked?
The ones I want to say are what's the best beginner spider?
No,
Which
no,
is
no.
okay,
No. On
feet
my
pics.
close friend, yes, exactly. The first few messages on my Q&A were asking me for feet pics. So why do you think that I want to go in my message request and scroll through?
More of
I'm
that
just
times
saying,
however
Richard.
many.
I'm just saying, Richard and Tom and these other content creators that apparently answer you all the time, they're not going to their message request and seeing pictures that are unsolicited, things like that. So
Yeah.
listen, I've tried to respond, but do not get mad at me.
Yeah, especially I'd be even more hesitant, especially like with how people tend to mob as you've experienced with like them saying you're not replying. Everybody makes mistakes with saying things, and the moment you say something, there a lot of people probably would take it and run with it. So I'd be a
Yeah.
lot less hesitant to be like, I know whenever I was like, again, like circling back to the whole modding thing, various groups, I said I would do this. In my opinion, I would do this
Exactly.
and everything. I'd
Exactly,
be
and that's
very
how
careful
I
how to
answer
word it
too.
because
Oh,
like there
yeah,
was
absolutely.
yeah, because there were some things like, for example, I remember helping someone out who's they had a few anesthetists die, and I'm just like I keep everything moist and everything, and I just ensure that things don't dry out. And for some reason, that person took that as flood their cage, with minimal
Yeah.
ventilation, and it died, and they kind of asked me, they're like, I did everything you said. Why did it die? And I'm just like, well, I
Yeah.
You killed my
Oh, I
say
feel
spider.
that,
that. I feel that
yeah.
deeply, trust me. It makes me nervous, and I've like leaned into the habit of saying this is just what I do. I'm not, an expert. I've never wanted to portray myself as an expert. That was never like people get mad at me all the time and they're like, "Oh, Tarantula Cat, she's not scientific. She's not an expert. Do these other channels or these scientific sources?" It's like when have I ever like came out
That's
as an expert?
that's just a default of having a public platform and a following with it.
Yeah.
Because I
And
think
and
that's
it that's something that I haven't quite adjusted to because
yeah.
I feel like a normal hobbyist, a normal person. This is just, I don't know. So,
Because I've found it's the same way, at least in my experience, that like I guess a similar example that I can think of that sort of is in a similar vein of like you see somebody that opens a brick and mortar, like they have a reptile shop, right? I've
mhm.
been in some reptile shops where the people that ran them, just after hearing them talk for 20 minutes, like they don't have a fucking clue what they're doing.
Oh,
But
yeah. I mean, you see that with
people come in and they see,
yeah.
oh well, they have a shop, so if they put all this effort and money into it, clearly they must know what they're doing, because they wouldn't have gone this far if they didn't. But then you have someone who's in there that's just buying some crickets or whatever, and it's like they actually have more hands-on experience with the things you're asking questions about than the people owning the shop do. But because they don't own a shop, you're just some guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I
It's
mean, I
not.
don't feel like I'm just some guy who owns a shop, but but
No,
at
I'm
the
saying
same
like
time,
in a
I
similar
know
thing
what
of like
you're saying.
if you're in any sort of like if you
People
have
just
some sort of
assume.
platform and you have a decent following, like people
I know,
automatically assume
yeah.
that like you're thinking of yourself as an expert because you're putting
I
out the
think
content and doing the
people
things you're doing.
they think like I like sometimes I'll see somebody be like Tarantula Cat did this and it was wrong da 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 and it's like, "Oh my god, Tarantula Cat did something that was wrong?" I am shocked.
What
I
a
am just
freak!
perplexed.
Yeah.
How could she, so many times I will make a video and I'll be like, "Hey guys, I messed up. I did something wrong." So, that's, it's part of
But
the
I've also
hobby is
come to
doing
come
things
to
wrong.
find that a lot of the people that are looking at everything under a microscope like that, like they'll never pick up a camera or a microphone and do this stuff themselves. Like,
Yeah,
They do.
or
They usually won't, but some do.
yeah,
Some do.
yeah. And then there's always like some people who are always like on about like, oh, like you should do this, you should do that, whatever, and go on and on and on. Which and then when you kind of like turn around back on them, I'm like, okay, so how's our setup? How are you doing? Oh, they don't keep anything, and it's just like,
Oh,
all right. I'm
oh,
like,
that reminds me so much back when I was like first making videos, like so many people would say Tarantula Cat's husbandry is awful. Go watch Tom Moran. His husbandry is so much better. And it's like if I took a picture of my husbandry and put it side by side with his, it's literally the same. It was literally the same. And it's like I think people just like have to criticize and if they
mm,
can't think of something that they just will like pick something and make it up or make it a
yeah.
thing.
I always thought it was kind of like Pokemon, how people choose their favorite like animal influencer and pin them against each other. I'm like,
Yeah, why?
it's
put them in
it's
a Thunderdome and make them fight.
yeah. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I could.
match.
I tried like I had an Instagram account for a little while for showing off my inverts and everything, and it only got like to like 3,000 followers. But the amount of questions and stuff I would get from there, I mean,
Yeah.
like honestly, it got to a point where I just didn't respond because I'm like, I'm not telling you how to do like some things like that. I don't want to get crucified. I don't want to get um I don't want to be the reason, especially when it comes to like animals and like plants, because I was big in the plants hobby and everything. I just didn't want to be the reason why someone misinterpreted what I said, or just like similar to going back. I always said these are my conditions I keep them in. these
Yeah.
are because I, I'm
But at the
really
same time, someone asked a question, you gave them an answer. Just because it didn't work in their favor, maybe they didn't do it the way they should have. Like that's not you did your part. Like
yeah. I
that's
found that more in like the Arachnoboards days before Facebook was like a big thing. I found that like people were more cut and dry. Keep them like this. We kept them like this. Move on. And they're like, oh, my spider died. And someone would be like, yeah, because you're a fucking idiot on Arachnoboards. But like now, uh, outside of like the Poke 54 days and the later Tom sign off days, um, I feel like there's more people who are looking for not looking like what's the word in English? Introspectively. Um, l- they're looking at all right, what not where did I go wrong with this? They're like, oh
Mhm.
no, you told me to do this,
Mhm.
and something bad happened, so it's your fault. It's not my fault. Yet the person who told you the advice has X
you're
amount of
across the
species.
country, it's your fault.
Yeah, it's similar with like tying back with like reptiles, especially because they're a bit more sensitive and a bit more like fine tuning when it comes to like some species. I have friends in Arizona. I'm not going to keep the way they keep because their humidity is lower.
Yeah.
They need to supplement other things. I'm going to tweak it to fit my parameters, and similar things should be done with like any kind of animal, plant, tarantulas and scorpions and other inverts
Mhm.
included. Just don't take whatever someone says as gospel. Do a little research. We have
Yeah.
we have the most information that we've ever done, that we've ever had at our fingertips. The search
And
bar
look at
exists.
dates. Look at the
Yeah.
dates on your videos I mean, if you go back and watch one of my videos from 6 years ago, it's very different than what I would do today. Look at every blogs, group posts, the dates are important.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting, especially looking back on. I think I said this in the last episode, but looking back on how much we've grown as a hobby, what the norm has changed over time, and everything. How we keep and stuff like that. It's evolving, and it's like it's for better or for worse. It's like it's good. Like it's good. I enjoy looking back on
Yeah.
how I kept in the past. Um, I remember going from like cocoa fiber or just like back in the day. I know I think people still use those hydro balls like as a bottom layer.
Yeah.
I used a layer of vermiculite. I know that was pretty popular way back when, but then it got to be a pain whenever the Theraphosa or some other species would get all the way to the bottom, and then I'd freak out, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god, what are they going to do with that? But yeah. Um. So breeding. Have you done any breedings before? I I'm pretty
Just
I'm
true
pretty sure you
spiders
have.
mostly.
Just your spiders.
I've bred some tarantulas, but I haven't had like any success really. I've had egg sacs, but like
Mhm.
uh either they molt or they make an egg sac and it's no good. So that's been my
Okay.
experience so
All
far.
right.
But I don't really breed tarantulas very much, and a big reason like I don't really film it anymore is because the internet gets mad when the male gets eaten, and they have a million critiques for how you
Mhm.
could have prevented it. Honestly,
Yeah.
there's like one time that my T uh vegans got eaten, this male. And like before I filmed this video, this guy, I had bred with her before. He also was in death curl like 2 or 3 times between then and filming, okay? So he's almost died like so many times. He's old, he's dying, and he didn't live. He got eaten. And although it was horrific and sad, at the same time it was kind of like, well, he got eaten and there's a purpose for that too. Um it was
Yeah.
like a thing. So I just yeah.
I think like one thing I think more people need to realize is that if you breed like Theraphosae or even just spiders in general, be prepared to lose a male. It doesn't always happen. With some species, it's more prevalent than others. But also, I know for me, for example, I don't know how dexterous some people are with like tongues. I've seen people like break them apart with spatulas. I'd be even scared of breaking them apart in case I hurt the male or female,
Yes.
like that. So I don't know how some people do it. I've seen like I remember there was all this heat where this guy was very scared to lose a male of this one species. So he pinched grabbed the female,
Yes, I
held
saw
her
that.
held her to the male, and the male like fertilized or like inseminated her and everything. But it was just like I don't think I would do that. I don't pinch. I don't hold my
Uh-uh.
tarantulas. I don't pinch grab them. I'm terrified of that. I've seen what their fangs can do. No, thank you.
Have
Um,
you never pinch grabbed?
I've never I've never held any of my personal tarantulas willingly. I've held wild tarantulas.
Never had a
Yeah.
reason to.
Yeah,
You know
and I'm
who
always
taught me how to pinch grab?
who? Tom Patterson.
No, the Dark Den. In
Oh,
2019, when we were in Arizona, he showed me how to pinch grab a phonopilma, and so I practiced a bunch, and then I came home and I filmed it. You should. Even if you're against holding tarantulas, you need to know how to do it, just in case. I mean, there's so many reasons.
yeah, and it was just like even in our chat like earlier today, I posted a photo of this Instagrammer. He pinch grabbed a Xenestus. I'm like, how the hell did you get that to sit still? First of all, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and just like I'm like picking up a so I'm this is gonna be worded horribly, but he didn't use the tongs to pick up the tarantula. Smitty, you shared the video. He kind of
Oh,
like
that's for
put the
making.
tongs underneath them and kind of lifted it, like lifted her, so he wasn't like pinching anything. But I'm like, how are you getting these tarantulas to sit still? Are they cooled down or something? Because the moment I open up
Oh
like the enclosure for
yeah.
my Xenestus, they're gone. I mean, they like bolt,
Yeah.
regardless of the size they are. So I'm like, I don't know how you're doing that, or like what you, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, like with the
That's what I was talking about yesterday too. Is like how much would that suck if you're trying to breed something like classy, and you get a group, and maybe you only end up with one male, and you spend all those years getting them up to size and getting everything ready, and then you put them together, and the female just smokes him, and nothing ever happens. And you got to
yeah,
start all
Yeah.
over again. That's like my biggest fear because I really want to pursue the classy stuff, and I'm trying to get more of them, and I'm like, knowing my luck, it would come time for me to actually try and make something happen, and the male would just get cooked right away.
yeah,
Like,
and then there's even on some of the larger because it's more of a issue with, I guess, like the North American, Asian, and African species, but a lot of those large New World terrestrials, South American, they get just as big as the females, the mature males, and there's been instances where the males have actually hurt or killed the females and everything. So that would
Oh
be more
yeah.
devastating too. I
neither.
mean, not, I mean, yeah, I mean, not to lessen the males, like, but you only have like a few years with them, whereas the females, they could keep on going for a while, and just like, I know, like some people like they've gotten like when Zanessa species blue came in the hobby, it's like what, like $800 for a mature female and everything, and just being antsy about like a male accidentally like getting overzealous and just like puncturing her abdomen or just like ramming her against the wall and her like abdomen rupturing or something like that. So it's just like it's all just be prepared, especially just be prepared. Be prepared for shit to hit the fan and things to go wrong. In that aspect, especially with breeding loans too. I've had people get
Oh yeah.
upset why didn't you save my mail? Why didn't you like do that or whatever? I'm like, when you send
What do
off
you
the
want me
mail,
to do?
yeah, it's like when you send off the I always kind of like tell people like when you send off the mail, expect to never see him or slings. Just like yes, best
High
case
hopes,
scenario,
low
you'll see them.
expectations.
Yeah, yeah, just be like, all right, sending him off. Whatever happens, happens. No need to ruin friendships over it or anything else like that. Because I saw a post recently. It was with the reptile snakes talking about like, oh, like I don't do breeding loans because they could ruin friendships, and I've seen people get heated over that. Just like, oh, I sent like my mature male for Myctopus species Dominican purple over to uh, so and so, and the female ate the male and she didn't produce an exact. He let the male die, whatever. I'm just like, it it,
Well,
it
it's
comes
also
with
too like I think
the
about
story.
that with breeding loans, like with snakes and stuff, and it's like if something happens to that animal, it's like you can't really get mad because if it was that special to you, you wouldn't have sent it out.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
wouldn't have shipped it off. So
Yeah,
it's like, sorry, it sucks. Things happen, but at the same time, if it was so important, you would have kept it because I've seen that happen with some of the green tree stuff. Some of the locality projects or something. People they shipped out a particular project to other people, and then they get upset when nothing ever really comes of it. And it's like, well, it must not have been that important if you decided to just send it out. You know.
Yeah,
Just
You want to
annoying.
see my snake?
Yeah.
yeah. That could have gone one
She's
or two
out right
ways.
now, so.
Cat needs rhino rats.
I think she'd thoroughly enjoy them, honestly. Like, look with the way she has some of her. Like the way you were holding.
I don't know. She always hisses at me. I mean, I don't know. She's just a hisser. You ready to see her? Okay.
You need rhino rats. I was thinking that while you were.
She's a little. She needs a minute a lot of times to chill. Yeah, you
Same.
can't just go that way, Fram. Okay. Hold still. Can you see her? Oh, there she is.
Ball python. For some reason, I thought it was
Yeah.
the ghost hunter and milk snake.
Her name's Daisy. She's like crazy. Ah, what are you doing?
I feel like that's the most active I've seen a ball python.
I know. She was basking in the sun. All right. Oh no! What did I drop? She's going crazy. Snake's on a plane.
That's the most eventful something has been with a ball python. But I'm like kind of just was saying like how you need rhino rat snakes. I feel like you'd really have fun with them with a nice
Me?
like planted enclosure. Yeah, I feel like you'd really like them with like a nice planted enclosure.
I just knocked on. Well, I wanted to show you it, but she's right down there. Do you see her going crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't shut the door. She won't go far. Actually, she might. I don't know. That's my first ball python, though. I got her.
Oh no. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Oh no. Was that me or you?
You're back. That was you. It's always you.
It was me?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I got her she was like our third snake maybe. And that was like before the whole spider morph thing was like on the internet, and like before Brian got like canceled for it and everything. And yeah, we didn't know. We had no idea that like she had that morph in her, or what that was, or what that meant, or anything.
Yeah. It's you live and you learn. You learn about these things. But I remember
thought it was special.
Yeah, I remember seeing when bumblebees were still like what, crazy expensive.
But as you see, dude, it has not slowed her down at all. She is crazy. She's awesome though.
I like your use of using hand sanitizer after handling snakes, especially in between. I'm a chronic wearing gloves in between snakes. People come at me all the time.
Oh, I do with frogs. Did you see I posted today the frog? I don't know where my phone went.
Oh yeah, your tree frogs. Yeah.
My mossy frogs, yeah. I thought one was dead. I was so happy because they're both alive and well. So I don't know why. If I don't see, like, I only see one at a time. So if I don't see them both for a while in the same, like, moment, I'm like, one's dead. I know it's dead. Where is it? And I take it apart, and then they're both fine, and they're just chilling.
Damn it.
A little bit of a different topic, but just because I've had like friends or like Facebook friends that comment about this. Plushies. How did you get into doing those, and what kind of spurred that? Because that also kind of like got some people that I know interested in jumpers, and then into like spiders in general. And now one of them has a jumping spider that got her into frogs, and that frogs got into hunter and milk snakes, and now she's talking about a boa, and I'm just like.
Gateway.
I mean that's all great, but I'm like, how did that start? It all started with a plushie.
Yeah.
it got into that. So like,
was it my plushie?
Yes.
She
never ended up getting a plushie. But seeing that kind of like sparked her getting into getting into them because it was like 1 month she started messaging me about jumping spiders. Next month was about frogs. Then the next month it was like, I like the snake, and I'm just like, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you go, girl. But like, what kind of spurred that idea, or like, what kind of brought that on, or like, what have
Yeah.
like like you?
Right time and right place for real, because like I I don't know if you are aware or how much you know about me, but I collect plushies. I have
Yeah,
so many plushies. I love plushies. I was really into Squishmallows. I was one of those people that was like going to like the store and looking for specific Squishmallows. I don't do that anymore. Um because it was kind of a money pit, but yeah, so I just love plushies. So I was like I want to make a plushie, and I saw some other like YouTuber, a big commentary YouTuber, they were selling a plushie of themselves. And I was like, I'll just reach out to that company. And I reached out to them. And immediately they were like, yeah, that sounds great. Like, they had a meeting with me, and just immediately were excited to work with me. And I was really nervous because like to do them you have to sell a minimum of
Yeah.
200 or everybody gets refunded. So I was really nervous, and they were like, no, like they actually like go through your stuff before they agree. And they're like, no, your viewers, we really think this is a good fit, we really think your viewers would like something like this. They like were encouraging me. Like normally when you reach out to a company you're supposed to be like, I have it all together and I'm so confident.
Right. You're
And
trying to sell yourself to like
yeah,
sell them to
I was like,
you.
I don't know. But they encouraged me and they were so sweet. And yeah, we just as soon as we did the first plushie, I was like, man, I wish we made a little worm, like a little gummy worm to go with it. And they were like, well, do you want to do another plushie? And I was like, yeah. Like, and so we just did another. And then people are like, oh, I missed that plushie and I missed the one before it. Are you going to do another? And it was kind of like, sure. And so, like, that's, like, one of my favorite parts of doing this, is making the plushies of my spiders.
so I think that if you do a Zenestus one, especially with the carapace patterns, it will be very cool, be very
I have
nice.
3 more coming out, within the next year and a half.
That's
So
Yeah, I
none
mean, are they
it's
like
it's not as
scheduled? Like, is there like a timeline of like, okay, well, at this point we'll do this one, and then we're gonna do like, is there a
we
schedule of sorts?
design them. Like,
Okay,
I sign contracts, and then we get to the designing part, and, um, then we just design them, and then sometimes we have a couple ready to go, and I just space them out because I just wanna make sure everybody has gotten the previous one shipped to them
right.
before I come out with another. Because it takes time. They're made to order, so it usually takes a few months. Um, so I try to space it out that way. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, right now we have 1 ready to go and 2 in the design process still. And
That's
then
cool.
we
that's
have
really cool.
1 out for pre-order right now.
That's really cool. Yeah, I saw that, and it was already at like a couple hundred sales. Like, w- like when I checked last, and it was just like growing exponential. So that's really cool. Congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's pretty great. And that kind of ties into my next thing because I know with the reptile shows, um, I know how reptile show works. I'm sure a lot of people know how they work. But with inverts being a growing hobby, how have you seen them? Like, have you seen like to the shows you go to? Have you seen them? And this could be a question also for you, Justin, too, just because I haven't been to a show outside of the Hamburg one in a hot minute. But have you guys seen like the invert scene growing at all? I think you've done meet and greets, Kat. Like, do you get like good turnouts with those in comparison to that? Like, what have you been seeing invert wise in like reptile shows? Because there haven't been invert, or I guess the Tarantula takeover, but outside of that, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't really been attending shows much, to be honest. I haven't really in the past year or so. But yeah, I mean, at first I noticed a huge difference, but then I kind of noticed, I think a lot of vendors were in such competition, they stopped going. And so it's almost like it's backed off a little bit, in my opinion. But again, I haven't really been going too much, so I'm not sure.
I
Okay.
think that's been the case with the isopod tables, at least in from using Daytona as my, you know, my measuring stick. I definitely noticed that, 2 or 3 years ago, there was a ton of isopod tables, like strictly isopods. And then I noticed last year, there was maybe 1 or 2 as compared to the, previous, I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe. But invert wise, like last year was the first year I had seen tables with nothing but jumpers and jumper supplies, which was interesting. I think there was a table the year before that though, because they were in the same place in the center. But invert tables wise, in terms of like tarantulas and spiders and scorpions, it definitely has grown over the years. I've noticed. Even before, when we're talking just some of like the Repticons and stuff in Colombia here and whatnot, you didn't usually, if you wanted tarantulas and stuff, it was on some of the like importer tables and things like that. But now, I mean, you go to those shows and it's not uncommon to see a handful of tables that are captive bred stuff, like nothing but tarantulas and scorpions and things like that. And Daytona, Marshall ArachNerds was there last year, which was really cool. Exotics Unlimited was there. They do a lot of shows here in the Southeast, though. They're at a lot of them.
Are they like primarily tarantulas, or are they just like half? Because I know I've heard his
No,
name.
it's mostly tarantulas. They've got
Okay.
some snakes. Jake got a pair of his Easter milks from them
Yeah,
at
because
Daytona last year.
he has a solid garter snake.
Yeah, he had a lot of garters at Daytona too, but it's mostly going to be tarantulas.
Okay.
But it's really cool to see that it's grown enough to where people feel like they can year to year set up tables. And I don't know, Exotics Unlimited seems to sell a lot of stuff because you go there on Saturday and they've got a pretty full table, and you go, end of the day Saturday or Sunday, it's thinned out a pretty good bit. So
Yeah, I know a friend of
pretty awesome.
mine on Instagram, fellow boa keeper. He just picked up like a 4 Abdo Megaphobema mesomelas from Exotics Unlimited at a solid price, and I'm just like, it's good to see like it's good to see because like he was selling, like he was still like a seller a couple of years back and everything, so it's nice to see some people that are still in it for a long run.
Yeah.
And also, like, similar to how you said, like, oh, there's tables dedicated more towards like jumping spiders.
Mhm.
I've seen like quite a few vendors, or not vendors, I guess breeders, just like focusing on jumping spiders in general. I think it's always kind of like cool to see how it progresses. I still am a bit sad how like one of the first Tinleys I went to, they had a tarantula talk on the evening of the first day, the Friday evening. It bugged my dad because I didn't have a driver's license yet, to drop me off over there. And he's like, "You want to hear people talk about tarantulas?" And he's like, "Why can't you play video games like a normal kid?" uh, but yeah, that was super cool. And that would be cool to kind of bring back, especially now, because back then the only time you'd really see tarantulas and inverts are on like the importers table.
It was
and
an
Yeah.
afterthought. It wasn't the main.
Yeah, because it was still like a niche interest even within
Yeah.
like the reptile thing. So like it's really cool to see what it's what it's become. I'm
Mhm.
really kind of curious to see what the next step is. I know with isopods it's like forever growing. Like they always find a new species, and I'm always astounded like how much does that one little isopod cost?
Dude.
I've definitely jumped down the rabbit hole before. I've had like 30 plus.
I've never seen them as anything other than like cleanup crew stuff from when I was doing dart frogs. I've
It's
never like I get the appeal because
Mhm.
it's something simple. They're different. They're interesting, but to me, it's always been like, yeah, I need them to eat the waste. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
It started
They're there
with
for
that.
the job.
Yeah, it started off like that for me, and then what kind of spurred my interest, oddly or weirdly or morbidly enough, was that someone said that one of the Porcilio species that they got as a cleanup crew started eating their scolopendra.
Hmm.
Post mole started like munching on their antenna and everything. I'm like, oh, let me look into this, and then I just got a bunch. Um, do you keep any isopods, Cat?
I have tried. I'm sorry. It's just not my thing.
I started a little colony of native ones. I went and plucked off my parents' property, and
See, that's fun. Like, I think that's fun, but no,
I
I
have no idea
wouldn't.
what species they are. They're just cool.
Yeah, I get I'm
That's what I
really
grow my moss in. I have a container with all those, and when I go and collect moss, like I put the moss in the isopod enclosure, and then they just go nuts. And I put some springtails in there, and it's it's there's no airflow through it, so it gets really.
I always
really
think it's funny how your guys' like little isopod names, they sound like weed names. Like this is like witch's brew. Like this is rubber ducky.
Yeah, like
Like they sound
magic
like different
potion.
strains.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gorilla panic,
yeah.
witch's titty. Yeah.
Honestly,
It's so funny.
I feel like so I'm a big stickler of if you're gonna name something like species something, please just stick with the location or general location from there. I have that gripe with like
That's what
that,
that Amphibious shirt is that I haven't put out yet. It
yeah,
says Amphibious. If you can dream it, you can name it.
yeah, yeah. It's like I have that gripe with like Xenesis a lot too because it's like species white. That thing's not white. There's no white on it. Or species orange. There's no orange on it. Or species blue. Yes, there's that one actually fits, but that turns
Maybe
out
they're just naming them after Power Rangers, dude.
they. I tried like tracing it down to the person who brought them into the hobby, and it just comes down to it. They don't want to share the location, for multiple reasons. Um, but
That makes sense.
that's why we have like, but then it gets tricky because with species blue, there's a couple different
That was
areas
the
where they're
color of the
collected
shirt
from.
they were wearing that day they found it.
Oh no, actually, no, actually, they're blue in itself, but like they're similar to Ultramarinus. They're collected from a couple different areas, but the thing is, tarantulas they don't have that much of a large range. So like
Mhm.
they get isolated, they kind of become kind of their own thing, which is why some people speculate why we have a trouble breeding them in the hobby because we have a bunch of different localities.
Right, they're not
Kind of, yeah.
quite the same, right?
But
What's breeding jumpers like?
yeah,
Do you lose the male with those? I'm
Not usually.
it's
I
completely foreign
actually
to me.
left the male in there once for like weeks and he just webbed up his own little corner. So
That's cool.
it can happen, but
Oh.
I've had little, surprise babies a lot too, just because
Mhm.
if you're getting older wild caught, they're gonna lay egg sacs. But um, I've bred Hylas and I've bred Phidippus regius, and I think that's it. Hylas giganteus was the one that I bred.
And what's usually the baby tally on those? Like how many are you getting out of an egg sac typically?
Probably like 100
Oh,
or
wow.
yeah, probably about 100, and you get like 4 or 5 egg sacs sometimes. So it's a lot, but I keep them together for a while, and
Mhm.
obviously I don't end up with that many adults. So,
Do they retain the sperm like the Latrodectus do?
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yeah.
Yeah. Because it got to the point with Latrodectus for me where it was like, oh my god, the egg sacs will not
Oh, yeah. See, and that's exactly why I didn't want to get a wild caught widow
Mm-hmm.
because I can deal with a bunch of jumping spider babies. I know so many people ready to take them,
Right.
but when it comes to Latrodectus, that's just not gonna be as easy. So
Mm-hmm.
I have gotten a captive bred one, and I had a wild caught one that molted, and then they sent it to me.
Oh, gotcha. And then as far as the babies go for those, I mean, are you doing fruit flies?
Yeah.
Like you're keeping them together for a while and then you're separating
Mhm.
them. At what point are you separating them? Like what?
So most of the time, I just keep them for a while and then I give them away. I have like friends who will take them. There's a pet store down the street who's always willing to take them if I wanted to do that too. I don't usually keep them after I separate them. If I even get to that point, there's been times where I've just had like babies and just been like, put them in a cup. There you go.
Yeah.
Your problem. But I've vended them before, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like something that I would. It's just too much work. They're a lot of work. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean those isometrics babies that I have now, like I've been having to do fruit flies with them and it's been fine and all and it's been great because it's something they can actually like tackle and handle. But I've also noticed, like I've been saying, like they're not growing. Like I feel like there's not enough going on in the fruit flies to get them like any sort of nutritional value to where they are putting on size and actually like you can see them swelling and getting closer to molts and pre-molt and stuff like that. Um, and it's been really frustrating because I'm like, anytime I do, like if I head crush a mealworm and cut it up into thirds or something and split it between 3 babies, um, they're not even, it doesn't seem like they're even touching that. I'm not seeing them eat that. But if I put fruit flies in there, usually they're all eating that within a couple minutes of me putting it in there. So it's been that's what's been so frustrating about the whole thing is like I have to do fruit flies because they don't really want to eat pre-killed, or at least I'm not noticing them eating pre-killed, because if they were, I would notice that they're putting on size and swelling some because they are eating a lot, and that just hasn't been the case. So that's why I'm thinking maybe if I put them together and I do pre-killed something a little larger, maybe they'll start eating on that when they notice others are eating on that. I don't know. It's
Can you try some? I know that I've had some finicky feeders in the past where they don't like the hard exoskeleton of like meal and
yeah, and
superworm.
that's why I cut it, because I was like, maybe if I
Yeah,
cut it up and some of the goo there is coming out, they'll find that and eat it. But
because
I
I've had like
haven't.
some scorpions like stuck on like some wax worms before and everything. But
I did some pre-killed. I got some crickets from PetSmart, and they were the smalls, but these were like straight up pinheads. These were tiny, and I did a couple of those, and some of those ate, but I sent that picture of that one that molted, and that's the first one that's molted since they've been separated. Like that's literally the second molt. They're two instars. Everything else has just had the first molt, and that's it. And they're not putting on size. They're not growing, and so I don't know. Like I said, I think maybe if I put them communally, maybe I'll see some better results. I didn't want to. I'm not going to put them in with the parents because I know mom and dad are just going to start nibbling them away at them. But I'm wondering if I put them together while they're all still young like that, maybe it'll turn around. We'll see. And worst case, I lose some. Whatever. That's why mom has 30 of them. But it's been frustrating.
Yeah, it can be for sure.
do you have you sorry because I had to step away for a second. Have you bred velvet spiders? Oh, like
Yeah, I was the
or,
first in the
or
country to do Gandana minnows.
oh, nice. How was that? What was like? So
It
did
was
you have
great.
to? Did you have to like similar to how like with some other like tarantula species? Did you have to like have like a dry season, a wet
Nope.
season? Oh, okay. So it's just like
Nope.
introducing the male and just waiting at that point.
Yeah, no, I just put the mail in with her, and I got some of it. I did a time lapse, so I saw some movement going on, and kind of lost him in there. Found him dead on the ground a couple weeks later. And then a few months later, I had an egg sac, pulled it, opened it. Wasn't the best egg sac. Some of the eggs didn't develop, but a few did. And then I had another egg sac after that, and that whole sac was pretty good. Um, First egg sac, I got a couple mature males out of it. I sent a mature male to Tom Patterson. He had success breeding with him. And I have a new adult female who I just bred with one of the mature males that I had produced. And so I did the same thing. I put them in there. They did their little dance. I found them dead on the floor maybe like a week or so later. And so I'm just waiting for her to drop a sack. And that's what's worked for me. And that's the advice that I got from somebody in the UK who had done it. So I just did exactly what he did.
Okay. Did you notice any aggression from the females?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The males, they just like go up and then they back away, go up, back away, and they do this little dance back and forth all night. I've never actually seen them mate. Tom Patterson did though, and he sent me some cool footage. But his female has immediately eaten a few males without breeding with them. So
Oh.
so far I fortunately, I think I've gotten pairings both times. So
Do you have any plans to breed any more species or any like in the future? Because I know they were up in popularity for like a minute too, like a
yeah,
long-haired
everything I
jumper.
produce, I'm keeping with the velvet spiders. I'm not selling. I did auction off a couple, but they're mine.
Did,
I
did,
love
did,
them.
did you get a lot of interest, like people asking if you would?
Oh my God, still constantly. And I would love to, but I also, it's no, I want them off to myself. I'm sorry.
I feel that, and I just feel like with inverse, especially because I have like because in the past, whenever I buy like arachnids and scorpions too, I buy similar to like a lot of people. I'll buy like five at a time of one
Yeah.
species, and to get to get females, or the moment I could sex like a female, or like I just want one or two females, and the rest turn out to be females, or like some turn out to be. I'll sell them, but I I dislike with inverts more so than reptiles because inverts are a bit easier to kill. Um, and them getting a message back, they're like, "Oh, like 2 months later, it's dead." I'm like, "All right." and I'm not good with customer service after the fact, or just like,
Oh,
or just like,
yeah.
or just like keeping that up. It's like I I had to change my terms and conditions so many times, saying that like once the animal leaves my hands, I'm no longer responsible for it. I could tell you what I do. I could tell you how I've kept it beforehand, but everything else, like, please be knowledgeable on the
I
species.
can only give you the tools to success.
Yeah, and I've had like, yeah, I've had people contact me like months after and everything, to the point where I just like, it was wild, because there was like this one person who messaged me saying that their Firmictopus died, and just to get them to stop talking, I Venmoed them back $50. I'm like, I'm sorry, here's this. Please stop talking to me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
keep
a
that in
lot.
mind.
Eh,
Yeah, and especially with like true spiders too, it's shipping slings in general is always a bit nerve wracking. But with tarantulas, it's easier because like they move forward and backwards. Uh, True spiders, I don't know about velvet spiders, but just like getting jumping spiders inside a vial. I've never had to unpack a jumping spider, but I assume it's just like shipping a tarantula. Um, I feel like that would be a headache and a half.
Yeah, I would not ship. I've only done local and not seriously.
It's like I want to know how they, when you'd get like HMAX slings or something, they'd put them in the straws. It's like I want to watch and see how you manage to make that happen,
Mm,
because I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how like what the most popular shipping methods have gone over the years, because at first it was just like the typical vial with paper towels, then it was the straws, and then it was like towards the end I started getting it was actually from Tom, moss inside vials, and just having the transfer go inside there, which I like.
yeah,
Um,
Just like
um,
spag.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's great, because
super easy. Yeah,
I could actually see the spider too,
Hmm.
yeah,
and like can see where it's at. Whereas like if it was like wrapped up in there, some people wrap up the paper towel too tight, or I don't know how they would get some like mature females or mature males into like a small container.
Right.
I'm just like, this thing's gonna bolt right out. Or like a Hapalpelma, you open it up and it's
That's
like facing the
exactly.
wrong way.
That's what I'm like. How did like Bacilliferaria stuff, your African arboreals, things like that? It's like, how did you manage to make this thing cooperate to get it into this and then have it wrapped up in the, little paper towel capsule and
my
stuff? It's like, mother of God. Like,
my computer's dying.
yeah, we're almost at the 2 hour mark, anyways. So,
Yeah,
Just warning you. I don't
no
have the
worries.
plug with me.
No worries. Um,
no big deal.
but yeah, so um, do you have any big plans for Tarantula Cat in 2025 in general?
Survival.
That is fair. That is fair.
uh, just vibe.
Yeah, I've
Yeah. We just got the new space. That's like the
yeah, I
biggest thing
saw.
ever. So, I mean, just, settling in and, upgrading, just lots of upgrading. I've been upgrading like crazy. I filmed a little bit, but it's mostly just been, you know, doing it myself and not really. I don't really film the reptiles like ever. Like, they're not even like, I don't make content about them like at all. So, I don't know. They're just quietly there.
That's fair. I mean, yeah. What I was gonna say. So then I expect you to have much more room for many more tarantulas now.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
I can see you expanding more into, or we should get Tom to send you more tropical species.
Maybe. I don't know.
Are there any species in particular that you got your eye on this year in
Not
particular? Or
really. Not
no?
just the New World one that has the horn right now,
Hmm.
but I mean, I'm really content with what I have. I just really want to like upgrade them, make them, awesome enclosures and just make this like a very nice visual area for like people to walk in and just like see all these beautiful plants and enclosures and stuff like that and just, focus on what I have mostly.
That's really cool. Yeah, you don't see a lot of that, and especially with inverts, it's always like the Pokemon syndrome or whatever.
Yep.
Like we want
I
them
love
all and
to film
everything.
unboxings. Like I have vendors reach out constantly wanting to do unboxings, but I am very selective and honestly, I do not always keep all of the spiders they send me. I have some very good friends that are always like, "Oh, let's go through what Cat got," and I don't even sell it to them. I just, like, go ahead, help yourself. I don't keep everything. Um, but yeah,
It's a
I,
lot
I
of
mean,
space. It adds
I'll
up
still
quick.
do, yeah, I'll still do unboxings just because it's always fun. I like to feature, spiders and stuff. But no, I do not keep them all, and I'm open with that too with my audience. I usually will say, well, I'm not keeping, this one or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like once you reach the amount that's good for you, anything
Hmm.
more sometimes could start feeling like a chore. Um,
Yeah, and I never want that.
yeah, because
Yeah.
the moment that happens, then you know, like, all right, you either need to step back, get rid of some animals, or evaluate like
Mhm.
why you're in the hobby to begin with. Because
Yeah.
once your hobby starts stressing you out, then it's all downhill from there. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, getting in the spot where you're content with what you have is definitely a nice feeling. I've come to find that with like the green trees, like I have my handful of them and I'm content with that. I don't really have any desire to add more to the group that I have, and that's just got what I got and I like them. So,
Yeah, right
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
yeah.
But if people aren't already following you, where can they do so?
Just go to tarantulakat.com with a K, tarantulakat.com.
There you go. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Everything's there, plushies, everything.
Yeah, cool. Well, this episode was brought to you by FullVisApparel.com. Use that code THN at checkout. Again, get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. Hats, shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. Maybe Speedos because beach season is coming up soon. We'll see if I can source them. Bet you Keller would rock that. It'd be
I
terrible
do
for
know.
everyone. Snakes and Stogies coming back Monday. THP happening Thursday. And then I think we'll be back after that.
Flipping tin tonight.
Flipping 10, I think, is probably still going on. So check it all out. We will see everybody later. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.